with the spinal. Now the brain is protected inside a brain box, which we call as a cranium. Okay, so cranium is the brain box, which is a part of the skull. And inside the skull, we have the brain present. Now, why is it there? So as to coordinate, and also because to protect the, you can say, brain from the variety of the injury and stuff that could come along. Understood? So that is why the protective measure for the brain is this particular brain box that it is present. Now moving forward, apart from all of that, okay, apart from the presence of all of this thing, the brain also is surrounded by the particular layers. Okay, the layers surrounding the brain, they are called as meninges. Okay, so the brain is the main coordinating center of the body. The brain along with the spinal cord. It's not just the brain. Along with the spinal cord, there are three membranous layers that surround the brain and the spinal cord, and we call those layers as the meninges. Now, the meninges are the ones that are found in triple layers, and the first layer is called as the dura mater. Then there is arachnoid, and lastly there is the pia mater. So, and it's just not the way that, okay, three layers are present. Always remember that in between all the layers, there is space present, and that space is filled up with a fluid called as CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. So cerebrospinal fluid is the fluid that is present in between each of the meninges that protects the brain and the spinal cord from any kind of shock and injury. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. We have completed till the brain has three major parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. We have
Okay.
already completed.
So I have to start from forebrain now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you have written till there? Till where have you written?
Hindbrain, like the brain has three major parts, naming is that till hindbrain.
So talking about the first part of the brain called as the forebrain. It is the actual, the main thinking part of the human brain. And the forebrain has different parts. The first part of the forebrain is cerebrum. Now, the cerebrum is the part of the forebrain that is responsible for all the things that makes us who we are, like reasoning, logic, right, recognition, then like you can say the responses like taste, stimuli, auditory response, all of that is controlled by the particular brain, like the part of the brain called as the forebrain. Understood? Now, this particular forebrain, other than the cerebrum, it has the hypothalamus in it as well. So when we talk about the forebrain, it is the most complex part of the brain. Okay. And it has the cerebrum. The main important part of the human brain is the cerebrum, which is the thinking part. It controls the voluntary actions, meaning those actions that are under our control. It stores our memory. So all of the things that makes us who we are, that is actually done by the cerebrum. What it does is that as soon as it receives impulses, it integrates it, it interprets it, tells us what that impulse or stimulus is about. And this is also associated with the hunger center. Now, furthermore, see, this is the part, the forebrain. Do you see the whole entire curvy lines that you see? That is the cerebrum. So the major part of the human brain is the cerebrum part. So when we talk about the cerebrum, so it is responsible for, you can say, like when you look at the brain from the top view, it will be divided into two parts. And those parts will be called as the hemispheres. Okay, cerebral hemispheres. Now, the memory is responsible, like the cerebrum is responsible for the memory. It is responsible for solving problems, decision making, emotions, and all sorts of voluntary motions or movements associated with the human being's life. Then, the next part of the forebrain is your hypothalamus. Now, hypothalamus, other than being a part, it is an endocrine gland. Endocrine glands, you will study later on in this chapter only, that endocrine glands are those glands that are responsible for secreting hormones. So, It is there in our body for coordinating with the help of hormones. Now, if you see the thing about the hypothalamus, so it is the second part, and what it does is that it controls the body temperature, it controls the hunger and the thirst, sleep and wake cycle. Like we fall asleep during the night, wake up in the morning. That's all again because of the hypothalamus. And all sorts of mood changes again are because of the hypothalamus. So any doubts in the forebrain?
No, ma'am.
After that, there comes the midbrain. Now see, midbrain comes after the forebrain. Now this midbrain is sort of acting like a bridge to connect the forebrain and the hindbrain together. So it forms the bridge to transmit the signal that comes from the forebrain to transmit it to the hindbrain. Now, when we talk about the midbrain, it is also responsible for the motor control. Motor control means again voluntary actions, vision, it's responsible for hearing, temperature regulation, and alertness. You see here more about the midbrain. You have it sits in the middle of our head, connecting the top and the bottom parts of the brain together. Top and bottom mean the forebrain and the hindbrain. It helps us in providing quick responses, and what it does is that whenever, like, for example, you're sitting in a car or a vehicle and you see things moving, the way you're able to see what it is without even having to, have that trouble that, okay, I'm not able to understand because it's moving. That's because of the midbrain. And whenever you hear a loud noise and you immediately you know where the noise is coming from, isn't it? Whenever we hear something, we know where is it coming from. We can sense the direction of the voice. So that is also because of midbrain. And lastly, it helps us to stay balanced when we walk. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Now you note down the forebrain part. Then we move on to the last part, that is the hind.
Ma'am, can you scroll down? Ma'am, not there. In the cerebrum itself, I missed the last line. I can't see that.
This part, no, auditory and taste stimuli.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Done?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, done, ma'am. Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am. Can you scroll down? Done, ma'am.
Done, student? Done till here? Are you done till here?
Done, ma'am.
All right. So after this, we will be talking about the hindbrain. So when we talk about the hindbrain, so see, along with the midbrain, the hindbrain also controls the involuntary actions, meaning those actions that are not under our control. So the medulla of the hindbrain, it is responsible for controlling the involuntary actions like blood pressure, salivation, vomiting, all of these things. And the part of the hindbrain, which is called as the cerebellum, it is responsible for the balance and posture of our body. So when we talk about the hindbrain, so it has three parts: cerebellum, medulla, and pons. Now, when we talk about the cerebellum, so it is the part that will be controlling our posture, our balance, and the precision of voluntary actions, meaning like how we pick a pen, use it to write. That is because of the cerebellum. Then talking about the medulla, so it is responsible for again controlling the involuntary actions like blood pressure, salivation, and vomiting. The regulation of respiration is done by the pons. Now you see here the pons, the medulla, and the cerebellum. These three are the parts of the hind brain. So when we talk about the hind brain, it sits at the base of our brain and it is present near the neck region. What it does is that it manages the balance, it manages the posture, essential functions like the heart rate and breathing. So the cerebellum, it keeps us balanced, makes our movement smooth and graceful, and it helps the pons to act like a bridge of our brain. When we talk about the pons, so it is the round bulge on the brain stem, and its position is like it is above medulla, below the midbrain, and it connects the different parts of the brain because the word pons means bridge. What it does is that it makes sure we breathe the right way, it helps us to sleep peacefully, and our facial expressions are all under the control of the pons. And lastly, there comes the medulla, which is also known as the medulla oblongata. Now, this is the lower part of the brain stem, which is responsible for connecting the brain ultimately to the spinal cord, and it has a cone-like shape. What it does is that it keeps our heart beating, meaning it's like our body, whatever things that you do not have to think about, and it gets regulated, it gets controlled. That is because of the medulla. So when we talk about the medulla, it keeps our heart beating, it makes sure that we keep breathing, and lastly, all the skills that we develop, it is because of the medulla. Is it clear, students?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you
Hmm.
explain cerebellum again?
Sure. Cerebellum. Now see, cerebellum is this part, the smallest part of the hind brain, or the smallest part of the brain center. That is your cerebellum. It's over here. Now this is the one that is responsible for posture and balancing. Like when you walk, you can walk up straight. When you run, you can run straight and not fall down here and there. That is because of the presence of this cerebellum. So what it does is that it controls your balance, it makes you like have a good posture. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Now, just like how the brain is protected with a cranium, which is called as the brain box, same way the spinal cord is protected with a vertebral column, which is our backbone. Understood? Okay, so now you note down this part. Done, Inan? Done till here?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Done till here, Inan?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any doubts up until now?
Ma'am.
All right. So